Bravehearts, Urbanites, Coach Mad Hatters, Urban Creatrix, Crimson Velvet VIPs. Welcome to our first journey summary. And I paused for a minute because I don't think it's the first one though. Oh, you know what? Okay, so I produced, gosh, and it was just a few days ago. I swear it feels like it was like 2, 3 weeks ago. Okay, so I created a intro to the intro. And it is now published on CoachSky 777.podbean.com. That's PODBEAN.com. And we tapped into a 5 card spread with the tarot cards, and I called it Consulting with the Cards. And it gave a beautiful foundation to how I view the importance of this journey as a meditative tool, specifically for those that would like to increase their participation in meditation. And it is my version of how we can go about solving that problem. Not necessarily a problem, let me say a challenge. Solving the challenge of consistent focus and rendering undivided attention. Because that's what meditation is at the end of the day. And our power to direct it to something specifically. Because, in my opinion, if you are able to give true concentration to it, it's the non physical fertilizer for non physical stuff. And please forgive all the banging and the noise in the background. My neighbors are rebuilding their shed or something in the backyard, and so it's a bit noisy. And I contemplated if I was going to hit the record button right now, but what I realized that if I do not, in this very moment, it's going to shift all my other moments for the next 24 hours. And I don't particularly want that to happen. So I figured I would go ahead on and at least attempt to record this, and then I'll listen to the playback to see exactly how disruptive the background noise is. But then here it is. I'm just thinking, like, do the background noises in our non-physical spaces prevent us from doing certain things that we ought to be doing in a particular moment with particular people, places, or things? And do we have the true ability to tune that noise out and keep it moving? Or the presence of the noise, is it all that important? Does it actually stop things? And I am not speaking about the voice inside of your internal dialogue that tells you to hold up or tread forward or call this person or don't call this person or wait a while or expand the sentiments, expand the notion, expand the curiosity. I'm not talking about that voice. I'm talking about the static. And I'll give you a really, really good example. I can't do much of anything when the TV's going. Not really a TV watcher, but even if I hear the volume of the TV from another room, it can become such a humongous distraction. For one, I hate commercials. And I think that's just from being in the nonprofit marketing and just being in some of those rooms where it all went down, and how the approach to provoking people to buy It really is a formula. It's a magical formula. And if you are only at the table as a consumer, you'll miss it. Only when you find the capacity to the needs that say we have to shift opinion, we have to shift the buying power, we have to rearrange the trajectory of the trends. Like those type of folks, they live inside of a different type of brainwave. I used to joke sometime, and I don't think it's a joke anymore, but I used to joke sometime about the the sentiments around being the lender and not the borrower. I would equate it with almost like, being the producer and not the consumer. Now, we're going to have to be consumers at some point. That's just the way the world goes. But I am led to believe that we could increase the number of producers to bring some type of balance to this world of consumerism. And I truly think that we should bring some of that buying power back to the grapevine. And we all know whom is situated inside of our grapevine. Now, are we producing for them, or are we producing for the broader, where we don't necessarily care who we're producing for as long as we produce and folks are buying? That's risky business to me. But it's not for the faint at heart either, because what I'm noticing is that most of the folks that I speak to, that are stationed or situated as co-collaborators, or or fellows within cooperation, most folks are driven by likes and numbers, and you're going to get your numbers up, get your views up, get your likes up, get this. And it's just like, if that's what's motivating you, and it seems like I always stand alone when I say I am not in the position nor in the interest to go chasing after anything. Even creatives who find themselves in conversation with me know for years I have been preaching. Those that are meant to work with you are going to be attracted to you because of what it is that you produce and how well it resonates with what it is that they are doing or pursuing. And I gathered that from being a hairstylist. Everybody was not my ideal client, and I was not on no grand dash to be having folks always in my seat, in my chair. And I really didn't have any well rounded concept around why I felt that way. I was just being honest with the way I felt. And I would tell people, I'm probably not your type of stylist. I knew my lane, I knew my strengths, I knew where I was the best at, and I knew where I was no good at. I wasn't good with weaves, I wasn't good with cornrows, and I hadn't entered into the world where I was okay with locks just yet. I hadn't, I was a colorist for the majority of my professional cosmetology life. I was a colorist. And so 80%, 80% of my clientele were repeat color clients, whether they were getting the color refreshed or they wanted a brand new color. And it's amazing because I would attract the women that like those vibrant reds and oranges and that plum, and they some of them would even want to do the blues and the purples and these were professional women. There's a type of way a woman can rock an indigo blue. And so I always had the opportunity to help my clients express themselves through the hair that they would wear. And yeah, I was about to say most often, but 100% of the time it was their hair because I didn't deal in artificial hair. And it wasn't more so that I didn't like it. I just knew I sucked. And I was very honest with that. So it's like, I'm not even going to take your money. It would not be fair. And it really wouldn't be fair for you to be unhappy with me when I already know we're moving in that direction. So let me tell you now, I am not good in that area. I can help you find someone. And so I knew a few stylists and barbers that I could call and refer people to. And because it was me making the referral, because it was me making the introduction, then the next thing you know, we are having this momentum of acquaintance. And the same thing, vice versa. There were those that I had stylists that were not really good with coloring and being able to keep the hair healthy and hydrated and and make sure you maintain that type of color because interestingly enough, when you color on that frequency, the hair has the potential to become fragile. And so there are extra steps that are needed to buffer these procedures. And so folks knew that I was a professional colorist, and it's like, okay, well, let me send you to my girl TC, and she will take you through. And all of my color clients went through orientation. They didn't just sit in my chair and say, "This is what I want," and boom, boom, boom. Nah, because you cannot become a colorist if everybody hair falling out. So we had to get the fundamentals. We had to get the fundamentals. And I say all of that to say that fundamentals are very important. That where you launch from, your foundational pad, especially with regards to your comprehension, that is very, very important. And that is your duty. That's your call of duty unto yourself to put forth pockets of undivided attention so that you may lock in, hone in, and fine tune your interior landscaping. So that was with the first that was with the first summary. That was the intro to the intro. And so now I'm back with the official introduction to the Mystic Fool. Suite Zero. SUITE zero. Like the suite number to a location. Going along the uh, going along the scope that says many things will be true on this journey, and that if you're really honest with yourself, you will sooner rather than later figure out that this and that is true and determining which one is for you. Because opposites can dwell in the same space. It does not make one true and one untrue. It definitely does not mean that one is to be favored over the other. So while I was contemplating this session, which I deliberately uh, am situating this for YouTube because it will probably be a tad bit longer than 30, 40 minutes. And I'm going to point out one, two, three, four important doors that I believe inside of the Mystic Fool's journey where the meeting of the mentors will be substantial. I almost want to say that this is where Neo meets the Oracle, that quality of mentor. Because I push back with the westernized definition around mentor or coach. Um, I visualize something different for the mentor and the coach of a mystic fool. It's more like a questmate. It's more like someone whom is also on a journey and can relate as a subject. So the conversations will unfold more like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was just dealing with that last week, last month, last year. Versus this barrier between pupil and professor, and somehow the professor figures like it's their total duty to pile onto the pupil and tell the pupil just absorb this. That seems kind of passive aggressive to me. And maybe I might be a little sensitive in those areas, maybe. But then again, on the flip side, it feels like I'm honestly onto something. So I have the idea where everyone is its own coach and its own mentor, as well as coaches and mentors for others. And the checks and balance that's infused in that says that I am not going to recommend you anything that I am not already currently doing or have already done or have it on my list to do. And here is how I am weathering with that. Here is how I am proceeding with that. Here is what I am finding out as a result of engaging with that. And I'm not going to hide my failures from you no more than I'm going to hide my successes from you. And I'm not going to allow you to put me on a pedestal because I'm grinding right with you. Regardless of if you're out and about all day and I am inside of a library all day, the mental and emotional grind renders the same complementary compliments. And we are not, whatever space or environment we're in, we are not deeming ourselves ahead or better. Even if you are, it's all about mentality and perception. And we are in the same circles. We are within the same circular motion. Whether you're at level 2 and I'm at level 15, we are still traveling familiar spaces for the sake of self-discovery. I think it's amazing. And when I say amazing, I mean absolutely amazing when I can meet me through someone else. Miraculous. And that does not mean that we are in agreement all the time. And for me to be honest enough with myself to say, I see me in you, I see you in me. Good, bad, or indifferent, good, bad, or the urban ugly. Because it's all out there. It's all out there. I'm waiting for the day when we begin speaking about how we transmuted this pain versus how we running from it or suppressing it or being ashamed of it. I'm waiting for the conversations to emerge that's talking about how this pain is getting transmuted because it's here and it's ours and it's at the ready. It's almost like having a kitchen full of food, pantry packed to the brim, and don't know how to fucking cook. That's tragic, in my opinion. It's tragic. And to not even have the wherewithal to say, let me just go ahead and see what it is that I can fix. And I'll start off with where it is that I know that I can fix. But that also begins with me getting in the kitchen and taking inventory and being mindfully aware of where things are placed so that when I need them or when the hunch comes to go, well, you know what? If you get two pieces of bread and put jelly on one side and peanut butter on the other, you will at least eat. Or the voice within the interior dialogue says, okay, well, go take your time and read the directions on the rice bag. You like jasmine rice. Stop going to these pricey ass restaurants buying what will be the equivalence of a $4 bowl of rice and go and get a nice size bag that will last you over the long haul. Space it out because you can't be eating all that damn rice, but space it out because you like jasmine rice. So you have jasmine rice in the pantry. You already have inside the pantry that which you truly enjoy. So go take some time when you're not rushed or inside of this shit that people like to call bored. Go pull the bag of rice out, take your time, and map out your feelings as you read through the directions. Get the measuring cup out and put your eye on the measurement that the direction says you need for water and you need for rice. And you look at the temperatures and the gauges and you just map out in your mind while you're reading the directions what it's going to look and feel like as you go through it. If you do that, I want to say once or twice. Usually it only takes once. And for me personally, all I have to do is start reading the direction and the inspiration to fix it comes upon me. You intimidated by baking a cake, go bake the cake. Even if it turns out so fucked up that you would not recommend anyone eat it, the the things that we are considering failures are not honestly failures. They are just being rendered that way because they fail to meet our satisfaction or our expectations. And usually that's where we stop because we don't like the feeling that is associated with what they've conditioned us to be failures. And after a few failures, it totally demolishes the urge to want to try it again because we want it to come out perfect from the giddy up. I can't tell you how many hairdos I botched up in hair school on the road to becoming a professional stylist. I give all kudos to the bravery of my mom. My mother was, when I say she was my guinea pig, and we used to laugh about it all the time because she used to say, it's just hair. It's almost as if the divine gave me the type of mom that didn't stress about those kind of things so that I could find my footing. And my mom was always game. Now, she did not do color. My mom never colored her hair. But all the other stuff, she liked her hair short. So I was always in the rhythm of frequently cutting her hair, maintaining her ends. So it was different. My big sister Reese and her girlfriend Cindy used to show up every Saturday when I was in high school. Every Saturday they used to work the overnight shift. Well, I think my sister Reese did, and they would come. Yeah, in her uniform. She wouldn't even go home. She would leave work and hit the house because I was in high school, so we was at my mama's house. Hit the house, get her hair done, and we were tied up and stuff because we knew once she left mama's house, she was going straight to bed. So yeah, we preserved it and everything. And her their frequency gave me the practice I needed on into professionalism. And I'm spewing all of this out to say that this is likened to this journey. It will be somewhat, all depending on who you are, intimidating at the threshold. But I'm also learning that almost everything is a bit intimidating until you get into it. So I have a few things. And I think I'm going to start with the doors that we are going to be, the doors that I highlight as the Mystic Fools' real mentors through this journey of 21 majors. And they're going to be associated by the door, which is the number on the card. So inside the major arcana, door number 6. As a matter of fact, where's my book? Just to make sure we keep the continuity. So let's just do this. So it's door number 6, and they are not in any order. Because remember, we are not living a life in a straight line. So door number 6, which is the lovers, door number 18, which is the moon, door number 9, which is the hermit, and door number 5, which is the hierophant. This information can be captured online through a simple search, so you do not actually have to have a tarot deck in front of you. I have ran into many worthy sites that will welcome in the beginner. And you do not have to take on the label of being a tarot reader. Remember, tarot is being utilized throughout this journey as a tool for self discovery and meditative practices. Now, if you want to take it further and you decide to really truly become fluent in the language of tarot, even better. Because, also, in my humble opinion, no one can read for you better than you can read for yourself. There are going to be all of these nuances that occur when someone else reads cards for you. It's going to be little pockets of life that they'll know nothing about. And of course, they do the whole, I'm going to tap into spirit, so don't tell me anything. It's kind of risky, tricky business. If in my opinion, I have to continue to say that because my opinion can become very lofty and it can get a bit pushy. And so I have to continue to make that clear for myself as well as for you. But to become familiar with the cards does not mean you got to lock in, lock, stock, and barrel and begin believing totally in it and start wearing hair wraps and lighting incense. No, you do not. But it's good if you do. It's good if you do. Try it out and see what happens. Oh, I'm scared, TC. Coach, I'm scared. I'm scared the spirits is going to come and haunt me. That's because you're listening to the stories of those that are unlike you. You buying into their fear. That they ain't got nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. It's going to resonate the way that it's supposed to when it knows that it is seeking to meet and greet. I often say, and it is usually around relationships, and so I'm now learning how to take it to. I truly apologize for all that banging. I'm sorry. Um, I have been learning to take it out of the physical, But I'll begin with my example with the physical, when I would say to people, mainly women, but I would say to people, the way so and so treated you is not necessarily the same way they're going to treat old girl over here. Two totally different people. Well, he was doing that for her. He wasn't doing that when he was with me. Maybe she brought that out in him. Two totally different people. Just like I'll tell folks, you can't ruin a film for me or a movie for me. You could tell me the ending all you like. I still need to see it for myself because I process the raw data differently. Just like you process it different. Excuse me, just like you process it differently. And so that doesn't mean that I'm not interested in your experience with the material, but I'm also interested in my own experience with the material. This is one of the reasons why I am not swayed when I am in presence with someone who doesn't like someone else who I like. The way you feel about that person don't have nothing to do with me. Even if that person did something to you that I don't particularly agree with, and I might even tell that person, but the abruptness or the chaos that stems between two other individuals that have nothing to do with me, I'm very comfortable with remaining inside of my neutral bubble. And I have no qualms with letting either one of them know I take the neutrality. I am in neutral stance with this. And nobody's going to bully me out of that realm. I think that's my double Mercury. My Mercury, my moon being in Mercury being in my moon and in my ascending. I think that like what's the word I'm looking for? That roots me right at the core, where I can lean this way or that way, forward or backward. I literally have this intriguing rotation. Because remember, Mercury was the one who could go, the only deity from the way that I am perceiving and comprehending mythology is Mercury is the only one that could go in the upper realms as well as the lower realms. It is the messenger. It is the one that keeps the ebbs and flows between communication between both realms. Is what Mercury is, the one that keeps it vibrant. So it has to be the most diverse, which is one of the reasons why I honestly believe that door number 9, the Hermit, is one of the more essential mentors associated with the major arcana that the mystic fool will come upon. So remember, if you're going through this journey, you are the mystic fool. So between you and your journal, you will hit 21 doors, all associated with the characteristics around that door's ruling planet. Now, I did produce a cheat sheet, which I will link in the description, which is on my scribed platform, for you to take a look at it so that you can see the overlaps between the fundamental hero's journey by Joseph Campbell and the traditional 21 majors of the tarot. And so inside of this series, we will be blending the two journeys, because human life isn't as simplistic as we are just on one journey. We're simultaneously traveling journeys. If you're a musician, you're on a journey for that. If you are a dad, you're on a journey for that. If you're a mom, you're on a journey for that. If you're grandparents, you're on a journey for that. If you like to dance, you're on a journey for that. And you like to cook, you're on a journey for that. You know what I mean? So we're always simultaneously on multiple journeys at one time, all dependent on a person's time and space and where they are in this experience. Which why I think it's real tricky business to try to judge someone's journey or timing. You definitely can't compare it to your own. That's foolishness. Well, I'm doing this, you should be doing this. That's why I always giggle when people say, "Well, I did it, so I know you could do it." Might not even be in the in the stretch of that particular human being to even remotely touch anything that that person is talking about. If I can do it, I know you can do it. It just makes me giggle because it seems like it overlooks the honestly unique experiences that we sign up to come and have in this dimension. So, at the beginning of this journey, my most valuable advice is to celebrate your receivership. All that you contemplate and all that emerges as a result of you dwelling inside of each of these doors for 7 days. And I do also have um, course recommendations or journey recommendations because you do not have to write down everything. You don't have to journal everything. And you don't even have to journal every day, 7 days. But when it does bubble up, stay consistent and journal it, especially if your inner dialogue tells you to journal it. And once you journal it, if you read back over it and it sends you somewhere else into something else, connect with someone else, that's receivership. Acquaintances is receivership. Discoveries are receiverships. Acquaintances are receiverships. Yeah. New knowledge, that's receivership. So celebrate your receiverships. And so, door number 6, the lovers, it helps identify kindred spirits, questmates, sacred choices, and helps reframe value systems. So, when you walk through door number 6, it is ruled by Mercury. So, you're going to be in correspondence with the stuff that you honestly love. How are you showing up as the lover to this person, place, or thing? And not more so that you have to prove to them that you're the lover. But this is all about you and your discovery. How do you discover yourself as that lover? When you are situated as that lover, does it make you feel proud? Are you satisfied? Are you secure? Are you inspired? Are you creative? I have a friend, and he's a musician, songwriter, and he has this thing where he can have a conversation with me in less than 2 or 3 days, some kind of poem or piece of a story or some type of creative endeavor sparks from me as a result of contemplating that conversation. And I'm not even sure, I'm trying to think, but I'm not even sure that I've really let him into the type of power that he brings with him inside of his conversations, because I want to say he don't intentionally do it, but maybe he does, because he's very mysterious. So maybe he does know that this is what he's doing to me. I don't know, but I know he's noticed the pattern of, after speaking to him, something morphs out of me, mainly poems, because with him being a songwriter, he structures his sentences in a way to me of a songwriter. of a musician. It flows certain ways. But because of his sun sign, it is still very matter of fact. It's very direct. It's very no nonsense. I told him once that he reminds me of Lady Danbury, and the the frequency of her presence is just it's incredible. Which means that Lady Danbury can be at first glance a very intimidating presence. But the more and more you get to know Lady Danbury, and yes, I am talking about Bridgerton, there is no other Lady Danbury. Let's get that straight. But to look at her, yes, you do see regal, you see royalty just because of the way she carries herself. So you can tell her chi is on fleet just by looking at her. But once you get to know her, once you get to have a few intimate conversations with her, and you step into a more closer relations with her, she reveals to you this soft, tender side that just accommodates that sternness. And so I believe that when the Mystic Fool hits door number 6, it is being primed to get clear on the stuff that it honestly loves, the stuff that makes it light up, the stuff that makes it want to dance and sing and express itself. So as the Mystic Fool continues to journey in and out of these doors, I would like us next to focus on door 18, which is the moon. I specifically am happy. Can anyone be specifically happy? I am specifically happy about it being the second door in my recommendation of mentor highlights, because it aids me in the rally I have for us paying attention with how we continue to utilize the terms negative and positive. And I'm supposing because I keep the vision of the chakra systems, and I know that there are way more than the 7 that I'm talking about, because I've even added 2 to my studies, which is one up under the root one, the one that's up under chakra 1, which is the root. I've numbered it 0, and that is the deep, deep primordial depths of one's intuition. And then I've stacked one right over top of 7, which is 8, which is the infinity. And that goes just as well as 0 goes deeper into the feminine, the infinity goes deeper, or should I say, the heights of into the masculine. And so I added 2 bonus chakras, if you will, or at least in my mind, the way that the energy permeates in conjunction with the other regular ones. Not regular, forgive me. I can't think of a better word right now. But so with all that being said, knowing that there are 2 dominant cycles, which is what Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist or Swiss psychoanalyst, calls the sacred marriage between the moon and the sun. Believe it or not, we have a lunar calendar and a solar calendar. The one that mainstream puts its robust effort into making sure we pay attention to is the solar calendar. Most often, anything that is connected to the lunar calendar, which is night, which is darkness, which is AKA negative, which is AKA feminine, it villainizes or it makes it seem like it's the more weaker side of the two-sided existential values that a human can have. So the moon inside of tarot is represented by water, which is represented by emotionality or your intuitive values, your intuitiveness. So door number 18, the moon, embrace intuitive alignments, dreams, visions, as well as the counteractivity of illusions and ill will. And it always keeps me baffled at how we got to the place where we would be determining emotions as a bad thing. You too emotional. How the fuck would that be a bad thing? Emotions are energies in motion. And if you are being emotional about something, that is an indication of an overpresence of an energy that wants you to fucking pay attention to it, regardless of whatever the trigger was. Stop focusing on the trigger and focus on the presence. The trigger is just what turboed you into the thing. Now that you are facing off with the thing. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I giggle now because it seems now it's starting to seem so cliche-ish for me to say because Pluto is in my first house. But it is. I have a birth chart to prove it. And Pluto is not one of the nicer planets. And it's in my identity house. It's in my first house. It's not one of the more jolly, more fluffy, more. No. It's dense. It's dark. Sometimes it's called the most evil dwarf inside of this cosmic fears. But I've had to deal with the challenges that required me to find another light to perceive Pluto in. And even though it was hard while I was going through it, I am so very glad. I used to be intimidated by door 13, which is ruled by Pluto. And the more and more we get into this journey, the more and more we're going to talk about it and unpack it. But I used to be terrified. And then I go and do an assessment that tells me with my what my slow down, Fed. It identifies my there there's this thing. There's this assessment, not even an assessment. As a matter of fact, I think I might put the link in the description. You can go to the link and you put in your birthday, and it gives you two majors, two tarot majors. Why am I not finding my words with this? You get, and they are called tarot birth cards. You find two two majors. And now it's starting to confuse me. No, it's cards. It's plural. So it's tarot birth cards. You get two cards according to your birthday that gives you snapshots of your, I want to say, your non-physical. It kind of like divides it into two components that is represented through the characteristics of a particular major. And I went through all of that to say that one of my birth cards is the Tower. Go figure, right? The Tower and the Devil card inside of tarot are the most intimidating cards in general. So, of course, when you're learning tarot, you will begin to pick up how others feel about it. And I am almost certain that if I had not already leaned into the acceptance of where Pluto was placed inside of my energy and motion frequency, inside of my emotional frequency, that I too would have bought into the crap that says Pluto's presence is something to be feared. Fear it when the Tower card shows up. Fear it when the Devil card shows up. And you know what the challenge also had me do? Differentiate between what I was trying to figure in a religiosity, in a religious context, versus a spiritual context. When I took away the lens that wanted me to stuff it into evil, good or evil, or righteous or wretched, when I removed that, Pluto began to show up a little differently for me. And I began to understand the patterns around the tower. And even down to the timelines when my towers exploded right before my very eyes. This journey gave me insight to those moments that allowed me to discover myself a bit better. No one else could have done that for me. I had to be my own coach in that instance that unlocked that particularly deep level of consciousness or comprehension, if you will, or expanded awareness. So, door number 9, the hermit, fixes your focus upon your soul searching, upon your solitude, and upon your reflections. The hermit, as well as the devil card, are alchemy cards to me. The hermit says you need to get somewhere. It ruled by Mercury. Oh, and let me just really quickly, the moon, of course, is ruled by the moon. I think also we have two Mercury cards on the board. Yep, because door number 9 is ruled by Mercury as well. So yeah, let me just read this really quick. So the hermit walking alone atop white mountains is a symbol, and it's talking about the visualization of the card, is a symbol of introspection and solitude. His lantern is meant to guide his own journey as well as the seeker below him. Even though the hermit has submitted, nope, that's not the word, summited the mountains, he is still searching for answers. So it's almost like to say, even though the mystic fool has achieved this in life, it's still seeking itself as it evolves, knowing that life is not a destination. Like all of this is a journey, and all of it is cyclical, seasonal, and that who you are this season is not going to be who you are next season because each day connects a new dot to the degrees by which you are meant to evolutionize. And inside door number 9 allows you to highlight and identify those aspects. It allows you to get situated with your directions as well as reminding you that even if you figure you should take a left now, get midway, it's okay to say, this let's turn back, let's course correct. So door number 5, the Hierophant, which is a Venus card, So, identifying your values, knowledge sharing, and beliefs. Inside this journey, we're always reevaluating and renegotiating with ourselves that which we value, how we share knowledge, and what it is that we believe. I am now striving to redefine how we define things and being able to identify if it's within the context of mainstream, if it's within the context of the Underground Railroad, or if it's within the context of the grapevine gravity. And I have no judgment either way. Even if we are going to continue on the road that Harriet Tubman and all of her plights were mythological. So, and in my opinion, so is Jesus. Like it's all about energy, and the stories somehow translated over the years to the point where these energies personified. So the three times that I have been on this journey, and inside of my series that I am now doing on Podbean, I go into it a little bit of how I am just completing my third round of this journey, and I have established the fourth journey that will start in 30 days, and I am bringing folks along with me. So I am opening up enrollment for anyone who's interested in seeing what this 21-week escapade is all about with regards to their meditative practices and their ability to visualize and do some interior landscaping. And having the Mad Hatter, I'm about to say the, and having the Coach Mad Hatter as like their tour guide. Like, come on, it doesn't get no better than that. And it's all asynchronous. So no, you don't have to be somewhere every Tuesday at 9 p.m. So I will end this introduction leaving you with some things to contemplate. And the first and foremost, if you don't take away anything else from this moment, invest in your visualizations. That means whenever you think about it, close your eyes, even if it's just for a moment, and put in place something. Meaning, if you have a room that you are redecorating, put in a little bit of time visualizing what that looks like. If you have someone you love and you want to figure out a way to be more creative, close your eyes for a minute and just allow yourself to feel into that. What would that be like? And do not allow anything to come in and assassinate that moment to say, oh, well, that'll never happen. Please don't do that. Now, don't go into the delusional realms, but that's still on the outer skirts of it. You still have quite a bit of territory before you get to that place. And yes, we can take into account with the respect that who you thinking about, it might not happen with them. So just allow them to be the seat filler. If it's someone you are already dealing with, yes. And you know that you want to continue to deal with them, yes. Put them in that space and just allow your imagination to blanket the moment. No strings attached, no infringements. Just allow yourself to visualize that which you honestly want. Don't worry about who it's going to offend. Don't worry about all that just yet. You are getting with you. Almost to the point where I dare you to say, this is what I'm visualizing. Let's see how we can work my energy out to bring me closer to this. Celebrate your receivership. Your receivership comes with peace. When you visualize something, if you feel in your body that you are in contented peace, you might be onto something. Now remember, there are no guarantees. This life, this experience never guaranteed us full bliss. It never guaranteed us that. Get out of that. Do yourself a favor and get out of that. Sometimes it makes me think that people are stumping their inner warrior by believing that everything's supposed to be happy, easy. I think for real, as much as I love Staples, the office store, that whole easy button, is it easy? They fucked us up with that one. There's a couple other things that have fucked us up with having our subconscious get comfy with certain shit. So slowly but surely back up out of that, figuring that you're going to be somehow disappointed or dissatisfied if it doesn't show up to you with the easy button. My life has always been complicated, and most people wouldn't even realize that. Why? Because I don't particularly wear it as a banner. Now, my biology might give certain things away because there are some things where it's still complicated, but I'm not previewing it or purviewing it or even like contemplating it any longer as a deficit or as a failure or a shortcoming. Challenging as fuck? Yes. But I'm starting to register my challenges as benefits, as perks, as privileges. I'm privileged to be challenged. If there was nothing in my life challenging me, ooh, mm, that would make Thea a dull girl. She would be really dull. I do have my dull moments, but overall, I am not. So I'm going to end with this. So visualize, visualize, visualize. Identify your quest mates. Identify who they are physically and non physically. And remember, just like you, each and every person is changing and shifting and leveling and reversing and forward moving simultaneously, moment to moment. Make room for that. Make room for someone to reintroduce themselves to you. Doesn't mean they completely change. Doesn't even mean that they not going to bring the shenanigans with them. But slowly but surely, everyone is doing this these small degrees of recultivating their view from the inside out. So I think I'm going to leave it here. I think that that was good. And some of the things that I will continuously unfold around this journey, it's going to feel choppy because we are in the bad habit of believing that everything has to be A, B, and C. I was sitting in on the last In Class with Carr that is hosted by Professor. Oh my gosh. And I know her to see why in the world. And I know Karen. That's weird for that to happen because I always know her name. I just see her face right now. What the fuck is that about? Hunter. Oh my gosh. That's hosted by Professor Karen Hunter. That is on um, YouTube, Karen Hunter Show, I believe, but also through narrative.com, which is KNARRATIVE.com. And so, In Class with Carr is facilitated by Dr. Greg Carr, who is a professor at Howard University in African Studies. I'm not sure if it's Africana Studies or African Studies, but I'm going to check that out. I tune in every Saturday. They go live every Saturday. I want to say at noon. Even if I don't, it's always a treat to catch it live. But even if I don't, I'm tapping into it before the weekend is before the weekend is out because I check for that series. Dr. Greg do his thing. Call him Dr. G. He man, listen, I be wishing that Dr. Greg was like my uncle or somebody. Like, even though we're kind of, yeah, we're in it because he's only like 6 or so years older than me. So probably not my uncle, but he just strikes me as someone you would want over at Big Mama's house for Sunday dinner. Like, he would always have something to drop on you that's going to make you think for the next 7 days until y'all meet again. If you do get a chance, go check Narrative out. I think you might be thrilled with it because they are building a place where narratives may do their patchwork, do their natural patchworking thing. And I just, if you hanging out with me, I think you're gonna love hanging out with them. So go check that out because you never know, you might discover a piece of yourself over there, and that's really gonna be remarkable. That's the shit you want to capture in your journal. So yeah, I think that's it. I believe that's it. And so in terms of tarot talk, since we are learning tarot and grooming around tarot, I wish your next 7 days to be the equivalency of the Ten of Cups. Now go research the Ten of Cups and see what it is that I wish for you. I'll even throw the Nine of Pentacles in there if you want to be sassy with it. And this is all with regards to your evolution around your self discovery, preparing to embark upon this 21, 22, 23 week journey. And it's not as intimidating as you may think it is. So, in the meantime, thanks for hanging out with me. And I do wish you well.